Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Valerie Mills. Thanks for logging on to My Fox Hurricane. We are tracking a system out in the Atlantic Basin, just one lone tropical wave. And the next name on our Atlantic season list would be Nadine. We have not yet seen that form, but we are watching what is called right now Invest 94L. This is several hundred miles west of the Cabo Verde Islands, but this is an area that at this point has a 50% chance to develop in the next 7 days. And so this is going to be the area that we're closely watching as it's moving in the general direction that we'll be keeping close tabs on this. And this is kind of the area that we're watching right now, which doesn't look too impressive. But what we are seeing is kind of this broad area of low pressure, this broad rotation. And if some thunderstorms can get a little bit more organized around the center, then we may be talking about something trying to form and take the name Nadine. Now, we've seen a lot of stuff circulating social media about Nadine already forming. That is not the case. But if this develops, it would be called Nadine if it's able to become a tropical storm, as it generally is moving to the west. Now, we are seeing our models all in consensus here. It takes this kind of dip to the south before generally continuing on this westward path. And then this is where things will spread out just a little bit. As far as the solutions we're seeing right now, we have some strong fall steering currents that would guide this system. If it gets kind of closer to the Leeward Islands, parts of the Caribbean, that's when conditions are a little bit more favorable for this to strengthen. But at this point, here's a look at our Fox model, and this is the area that we're kind of watching here. And watch as it kind of starts to dip a little bit more to the south and west. This is right on through Tuesday and Wednesday. And then as we get closer to that Thursday, Friday time frame, this general area is kind of on approach to, say, areas maybe around Puerto Rico, maybe the Bahamas, if it curves a little more up this way. So we could just be talking about some rain and some higher surf. But once it gets into this region, waters are very warm, and so there is the potential for this to strengthen a bit more. And whether it heads into the Caribbean or curves off into the Atlantic, those are at this point the solutions that we're watching for possibilities. Now we've got our strong high pressure that's dominating over the Atlantic, and now that we're in the middle of October, these fall systems are swinging through. And so through the next couple of days, we're going to watch a dip in the jet stream. A cold front, a pretty strong cold front, is going to dip south across Florida. It extends well out into the Atlantic, and then quickly behind that we see high pressure building in behind. And so these are the components that we're going to be watching very closely, depending on the timing. If that storm kind of makes it into this area where then it's able to start strengthening, those are going to be some of the currents that will be guiding that storm. Whether it stays a little bit more to the south and moves into the Caribbean, well, we've got water temperatures here in the upper 80s, so likely to see some additional development. But if it kind of ends up on this track, it's almost more likely to end up into parts of South America, because we'll have that cold front that will overall kind of block it from curving up into the state. But then the other solution, if it turns north a little bit earlier, we could see this skirt up the east coast, and with that front extending off the east coast, that would also act as kind of a barrier for where that storm could go. So this is still several days out. It's not likely until the end of this week or even into the weekend where we start to talk about the potential for that developing. And so we'll continue to watch that, keep you updated, of course. But right now, it's just Invest 94L in the Atlantic Basin and quiet otherwise.